BS.
Well, it's I lovable baby boy Brank, and I'm joined by the villainists.
Despicable, terrible, maniacal,
He's a lot of things.
bad boy, Jank.
Jank, bad boy for life. Yeah. Before we even announce the podcast, are you gonna watch Bad Boys 4?
You know what? Me and Esprit watched the last Bad Boys movie, and I wasn't.
I did too. It was good.
Yeah, it was all right. You know, I didn't think it was terrible, but it ended in a way where I was like, I'd be okay not watching another one.
What are you talking about? You're the biggest Martin Lawrence fan I know. You've been watching Yo Mama's House and Black Knight every day of the week.
I completely forgot about those movies.
Oh, you love them. You didn't forget about them. Those are your favorite. Black Knight was his, right? I think that was the
yeah.
Martin
Black
Lawrence
Knight was
film.
his, or is Black Knight or Green Knight one of the two? But Black Knight.
No,
yeah,
Green
you're
Knight
right.
is the indie.
Indie. That's
film.
right. That's right. All these nights, man. All these nights.
I think I watched Black Knight. I want to say that was at the era of like Jamie Kennedy, and I even watched his
Malibu's Most Wanted. That's right.
Yeah, of course, one of the best films ever. With the what did they call it?
A game,
the
game
guys,
cast, right?
The game cast. It's like, no, they have the GameCube or the Dreamcast. It's like, no, I don't have that stuff.
I got the game cast.
Such a great film. Anyways, this is Super BS, a podcast about video games
and Jamie
mostly,
Kennedy,
as you could tell, and Jamie Kennedy, the X experiment. Okay, we're all about the X experiment here. We're gonna pull some X experiments on you guys, okay, today as we surprise you in very interesting ways. Before we get into what was easily the biggest news, and we've got way more E3 to talk about in coming episodes, but E3 is just wrapping up, so we aren't ready to get there yet. You did something big. You finished a game that you've been playing for months, years, nay, decades now. What'd you finish?
I made it to the end of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and
nice.
I gotta say, man, like I wasn't too impressed with the ending. Like I know we talked to the doctor off air, and he's saying how he's impressed with Cloud slowly losing his mind. He thought that was cool, and I agree with that. But there's just a lot of pieces that it felt very Marvel in the end of it, with all the different like timeline nonsense going on. And then, I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's just like, it's the last, and we've talked about this before, right? The last dungeon is not great. And you're saying you hate it. And I totally understand why. But you go through all of that, though, and it just feels like the end of the game isn't like the payoff you were searching for.
Yeah, we discussed this off air, but I have a weird relationship now with Rebirth. It was easily my game of the year going into the last dungeon. I put in 90 hours. I did pretty much all the pieces of side content. I did have to drop the difficulty to easy to finish the Gilgamesh section where you have to fight all the... they're not Aeons, they're not Espers in this game, whatever the summons are called. Yeah, but I had to drop it to easy to play that. But the thing that disappointed me the most is they decided to do this thing, and the doctor reminded me that old Final Fantasies did this, where they lock missable final weapons in the last dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
They make the last dungeon not really open like the open sections of the game, but also not super linear to the point where you can miss final weapons fairly easily because they like kind of hiding them. Yeah. I think you had an issue with a weapon that was on the side of like a wall that you were supposed to climb.
Cloud's weapon, yeah, because you have to look really close to see the little like crevice that your guy can get into to get there.
Yeah, and I missed, I don't think I missed much. I think it was hopefully just like an elixir if I read online properly. But there was a section later on where you have to solve these puzzles, and 3 of the 4 puzzles take you to the next story point. Mm-hmm. And once you solve all 3, it forces you into a cutscene that then removes all choice. So I was planning on going and getting this item, but I never had the requirement that I needed to finish the puzzles, and so it forced me into that. things like that I don't like. Like if you're going to have something that's off to the side that's missable, please don't like force me to do stuff or to make it like, well, hey, you got to read a guide. I don't like guides. I don't play games with guides anymore. I don't mind if occasionally I need to look up something like, oh, where's this? Right? But I'd rather never do that. I don't like doing that in games. I've been playing a lot of Elden Ring recently in getting ready for Shadow of Erdtree, and that's a game where, like, yeah, you could use a guide to go through the whole game, or if you want, you could just look up where a weapon is, or you never need to look up anything and you can play the entire game and you're not really going to feel like you missed out on anything.
Right.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth very much has a set amount of weapons to the point where the inventory has just enough space so each person has the exact same amount of weapons. It's a game where you're going to feel like you're missing something unless you just don't care about the game very much. Unless you're just there for the story and you didn't approach any of the side content.
Yeah, you know what sucks too is that a lot of the dungeons I get, like the different areas in this game, the maps are layered. So you know how on like a normal like RPG, you can look at the map and it'll show you all the different ways you can like branch off if you choose to go that way. And this one, they're set at different levels. So you look at the map, you're like, oh, well, I wonder if there's like something off this beaten path here. But you don't even see the beaten path because it's on a whole other map. And that... Yeah. Their
map has a lot of issues. I didn't really hate it as much as a lot of people did, but I think it's Goganza.
What is the name? Yeah, that was that was one where you had to get on the chocobo, right? And jump over all the jungle stuff. Yeah.
Yes, that was a very tricky section. A lot of people hate it. There's lots of criticisms for it. I actually didn't mind it. I will say whenever the game opened up and just allowed itself to be an open world game, I generally enjoyed it. Like way more. Now, I've talked with both you and the doctor off air about how punishing the game is in terms of leveling up is almost impossible outside of story segments. It doesn't really provide you much even when you do level up. You can't really get enough skills to unlock most of the skill tree. The game wants to punish you. Besides all of that, before this final dungeon, I loved it. I've loved everything. I've loved running around. I mean, like I said, I've completed... I think every piece of content the game has. I didn't like max out every single thing, but I even did the final boxing match that you need to do for some of the quests.
I hated the boxing in that game.
Some of those mini games are really stink. But for me, the game was like a wealth of content, and I was fine with that. I'm going to try to stomach this ending because I have a feeling I will probably enjoy the game overall once I get there because I liked so much of it. But I will say it's sad for me that it's kind of been ending on like a whimper. Like I think it was my fault too. I picked up Stellar Blade right when I started the Chapter 13 dungeon. So I was already kind of like 1 foot out the door. And I just had no interest to come back, especially a game like Stellar Blade, which is pretty much all mechanics, all combat, all fun. It doesn't really force you to do... It's either very, very linear or like the missable stuff doesn't really matter that much, and you can go back and revisit. I haven't got to a section in Stellar Blade where I'm like, oh man, this stinks. It's also a game of like low consequences. It's not like 7 Rebirth, you get tons of level ups and anyways. But
Rebirth's a thick game, man. It's a thick game.
Ooh, I like my thick games. But we didn't come here just to talk about Rebirth. We came here to talk about something uber cool. The Nintendo Direct that was a surprise. It was out of the blue, right? And before we get to that, I want to say, hey, Shadow of Erdtree is coming out this Friday.
Got a 10 on IGN, I saw.
I saw that too. I am very sad to say that I probably will not be able to experience the content in Shadow of Erdtree because of the way they set it up. At least not anytime soon. So if you're not hearing us talk about that, it's not because I'm not playing Elden Ring. It's because I 100%ed Elden Ring. So I got my main character to New Game Plus 3. And the content within Shadow of Erdtree is supposed to be nearly impossible unless you have a single New Game character that's just at the end of the game. So I am trying to get a new character there.
Why would they do that?
That's just a FromSoft thing. They generally don't make the DLC very accessible. I mean, their games aren't made for accessibility. I don't hate it. I will say I forgot how far or like how much time is required to get to where you need to get to access the DLC. I've been playing it on my Xbox save and on my Steam save because my PlayStation 5 save is the one where I'm New Game Plus 3. And New Game Plus 3, like a lot of the just normal minions will kill me in like 2 or 3 hits. So I can't even imagine going into a zone that's supposed to be way harder than anything I've ever experienced before. I will be able to like turn it on PlayStation and look and see what's going on, but I can't. I won't be able to beat it. I'm not that good of an Elden Ring player to begin with, let alone trying to tackle the considerably more difficult DLC on New Game Plus 3.
You know, that's so crazy, though. Like, I get that they're known for doing things like that, but just make it accessible for everybody.
Well, the director, Miyazaki, was... we hate money. Like. Well, he was mentioning a couple cool things recently. He's going to try to make the games a little less vague, which for me, I'm fine either way. It is a fun game where I just don't really care about the story and everything they show is pretty neat. But the game, they're talking about making the story less vague, and they are talking about having co-op be accessible throughout the entire game. Because I tried to get a couple of friends to play Elden Ring with me, and one of the things they hated the most is you have to keep using items that you have to craft to access co-op, and it's only accessible for small areas of the game with only one person getting the progress that's involved. And the other people... the other people can level up or, gain runes and such, but they won't be able to move forward, right? You'll have to essentially help each other out, do the same thing 3 times if you want to keep moving forward in the game, which obviously can get really tiring if you're doing the same boss 3 times, then you move and do the next boss, and you have to keep unlocking some of these. So there was a lot of good progress where I'm hoping Elden Ring 2 is just co-op through the whole game if you want, because truthfully, I don't think it needs to be as vague and arbitrary and just kind of as difficult as it is. Like, combat-wise, I love the difficulty, but if they wanted to add things like co-op, I don't see why they just don't let you play with your friends. You can do it. It's just really hard to do right now. So So anyways, Elden Ring's great. I've still been playing Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. I'm pretty far on that. We're going to talk about that probably here when we talk about the Nintendo Direct. And the final thing that I touched recently that I just had to mention because I forgot how good it is.
Keep this G-rated, all right?
Oh, yeah. I can't promise. No promises here. Not with how good this stuff is. I've been touching this one pretty hard. It's called A Short Hike. You guys might remember this from the original Super BS. Yeah. I had to get achievements for my Microsoft Rewards points, and I decided I was like, hey, play Short Hike in forever. I forgot how good it is. I had talked about a Little Kitty Big City and Little Gator Game, I think, on these podcasts. I don't know if I talk about Little Gator Game, but Little Kitty Big City, those are both great. A Short Hike likes. Yeah, but A Short Hike is still the best. It's still so much fun running around that mountain, collecting the feathers, gliding, doing the little like, oh, hey, I see a flower. I need to get my bucket of water up there so I can make it grow so I can jump off of it. So, go back and play it. Yeah. Have you played that at all recently or no?
No. I downloaded it on Games Pass and I played a few minutes of it. My kids have played it. I beat it on Switch, but I haven't gone back to it since then. One I have been really digging that's kind of like Short Hike is Cozy Grove. Did you ever play that one?
I never did. Is it available on any of the like Game Pass or something or no?
It's on. I don't know if it's on Games Pass. It's on Switch and it's on. It was on. I played it originally on iOS, but
you talked to me about this when it came out.
Yeah, that was another one that kind of reminded me. It's nice and calming. The music is very serene, and you just felt good playing it. So that was that one's good. But
sounds
I do,
like it's an Animal Crossing.
Maybe I will go back and play.
Cozy Grove. It sounds like Cozy Grove.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, because I just opened the Steam page just to look at it, and it says Cozy Grove runs in real time and is optimized for 1 to 2 hours of daily play. Which I found at the end there for Animal Crossing, I was playing about 30 minutes a day. That's kind of what they want you to do. There's really not enough for you to do to play for more than 30 minutes.
I did go back to Assassin's Creed Valhalla this week.
What? For the DLC or what? What made you turn it back on?
Well, I want to play Mirage. I haven't had a chance to play that one yet, and I know that at least in Odyssey, the DLC content tied into the modern story
Valhalla.
that runs alongside. Yeah. But in Odyssey, it did. So in Valhalla has the Dawn of Ragnarok. So I'm assuming there's going to be some sort of modern tie-in to that one. So I want to play that before I go on to play Mirage, so that I'm not like missing any story points. It's already like a stupid, confusing franchise story. The story for that franchise is crazy confusing.
It's also too long. Like, I like Valhalla as like a game. Gosh, I loved Odyssey. We talked about Odyssey on our first episodes of Super BS. I felt like for forever because it's incredible, super fun. Or maybe we didn't. I think it came out after we had stopped recording. But Odyssey is probably my favorite Assassin's Creed game. Like, honestly, it's probably my number one.
I played everything in Odyssey. I 100%ed Odyssey. Like, that one was great. Valhalla was stupid long, and I hate the you have to be online to save the game, and the whole just how massive the map is drove me nuts.
Yeah, I bought the first DLC pack for Valhalla, and I never finished the DLC for Odyssey. It's such like a crazy thing. I don't even know what was going through my mind. I think it was on sale. But the Ireland and France DLC, and I turned on the Ireland one. I had some fun for a few minutes. There's just not enough time in the day to play like the amount of games that Ubisoft wants you to play their content in a way that is like Elden Ring or Tears of the Kingdom, and I don't think the content is good enough.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because I am. So I had the season 1 pack, and I just never like went back to play the DLC. So I have the Siege of Paris, I have the Wrath of the Druids, which I think is the Ireland one.
Yep.
But it also came with this thing called the Forgotten Saga, the Lost Saga, or whatever, and it's exactly that. It's like a what do you call it, like a Souls-like game. So you're going in and fighting and getting as far as you can, and then you die, and it starts you all the way back at the beginning. You lose all your weapons, but you're able to add skills. Every time you fight, you gain experience. So before you go out into this next run, you can add skills via skill tree until like eventually you die enough times, you can beef your guy up to like being unstoppable, and then go in and hopefully make it to the end of this this run here.
Yeah, I should check that out. That sounds exactly like the God of War roguelite DLC. I kind of always tell you guys to check out. That's free. That is incredible and a ton of fun. But yeah, they've just added so much to Valhalla. I feel like at this point, I will probably never go back to Valhalla because I am looking forward to trying Shadows. And I think if I try to go back to Valhalla before that, I'm going to be Assassin's Creeded out. And also,
I'm sure. Yeah.
This year is crazy. Like so it's like it's been a weird year, and we're going to discuss it more in the next coming weeks. We got some like, hey, are these games going to launch? We got some phase from the show we're going to do, but we're going to talk about the Direct today. And already I can see a path to the end of the year where there's at least one, maybe even up to 2 games some months that I want to play. Yeah. And if they all launch, most of these games aren't short. I mean, probably on the lower end, these games are going to be 20 hours, if that, right? That would be if I'm lucky. The beginning of the year started off with Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, which was incredible, which was crazy long, and then Rebirth. Back to back. And then we had like Stellar Blade, and then we had Rise of Ronin, which I only put a little bit of time. There was just a lot of games that came out. I feel like there are games launching at such a rate that we can't even touch it. So yeah, I'm gonna hold off on any more Assassin's Creed till Shadows. Are you gonna get Shadows? Did we discuss that from last week? I know we had to rush through everything last week.
Oh, we talked a little bit about it. Yeah, I'm gonna play Shadows. Yeah, like it because I didn't play last year's was Mirage. I didn't play that one because I kept saying, eventually I'm going to go back to Valhalla, and I just never did. So I'm taking some time now. But also, I got my back catalog is kind of getting full here. So
it's crazy, man. I feel the same way.
It is. Yeah, and I'm trying to knock some things out before this fall gaming season starts, which we'll talk about when the Nintendo get to the old Direct. But let's save that then for next week. Let's do the Direct stuff. We're gonna go piece by piece, then we'll probably discuss the show as a whole. It kicked off with a little bit of a bang, man. It kicked off with a series I thought was dead because this developer closed. Alpha Dream was the developer from years ago. A new Mario and Luigi title, Mario and Luigi Brothership. Which is the funniest name I've ever heard of because I don't think there's a name. I don't think the word brothership exists in the English language. So great. Good on them for coming up with a stupid name. But I love the Mario and Luigi games. Do you have any history with them? No, okay. So the guy said the developer said that they hadn't made one for like what 11 years. So I was trying to remember
9 years.
9 years.
That's the president of Nintendo. I forgot
Oh
his name.
yeah. Sorry,
You're good.
I'm ignorant. But what? So what was the last one that came out?
The last one was, I believe, Mario and Luigi Paper Jam or something like that. Or let me see what it was called. Paper Jam. It was on 3DS, and it was a mix of Paper Mario and Luigi, meaning like Paper Mario was in the game, so you had 3 people. It was the final game that I know of from Alpha Dream, which is the company that was created to make the Mario and Luigi games for the most part. I think they had like one other game besides Mario and Luigi.
Okay, then
but
I have zero history with that franchise. I did enjoy that. Had some RPG elements to it though, which looked cool.
Yes, so Mario and Luigi, we discussed this when I was talking about Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, I think either a week or two ago, where Mario and Luigi kept the RPG elements as most of the Paper Mario games switched and became like weird puzzle games where there was like no characters and you would just do puzzle things, whether it was like Origami King where you don't level up, but you can get more health through like pickups in the world and things like that. Mario and Luigi is still traditional, or it was, I hope this one is too, RPG. You fight enemies, you level up, you go through the world. This one looks extra silly. The art style is very unique. It reminds me of those 3DS.
Dark lines around them. Like that
yes,
was,
yeah. It looks cool. It reminds me of the 3DS, DS, GBA games just now in 3D. And I think the combat looks phenomenal. It's just so much... there's so many animations. It looks like there's so many ways to make it kind of rhythm based. If you haven't played them before, you control both Mario and Luigi. So if somebody decides to attack you, so Luigi, that's a button that you can use to evade. If they attack you as Mario, that's a button you use to evade. Different buttons.
Can you do co-op? Is there like a co-op feature, you think?
I don't know. I could imagine with the Switch, they might allow you, just for like people who have kids, like one person can play Mario, one person can play
like
play
the
Luigi.
Cappy thing, whoosh,
Yeah. But the game traditionally was not co-op. But yeah, so that's how they kicked off the show. It's coming out November 7th, which is pretty wild. I heard someone discuss this on a different podcast, but that means in 1 year, they'll have released Super Mario RPG, the remake, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door remake, and a brand new Mario and Luigi, all within a 1 year time span. Mario RPG
they're really
was
hitting
last
those,
November.
Properties, it seems like that people are not expecting to be released while they're avoiding putting out like a mainline Mario title.
Yeah, we should discuss after we're done. We'll try to hit on the rumors because pretty much every rumor was wrong. I don't know if any of the rumors that I had heard going into this direct, if any of them were correct, besides the final game of the show. After that, they discussed the Nintendo World Championship, the NES edition. Did you get a chance to check out that trailer?
I did, yeah. I guess, I don't know, it's like a callback to the old Nintendo Championships.
Yeah, so on Wii U, they released these 2 games, I guess you can call them, like they're weird like mini games, called Nintendo World Championship Editions. And what they were is a callback to this old competition that they had, I want to say in the late 80s, early 90s, where people would play against each other for like scores or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. So this is kind of that idea where they set it up, you have to do like certain mini games and complete it. I think it looks great. Comes out July 18th. I think the one issue for me is, it's $30, and that's not a lot of money, but this is really a game that I would probably play one night, maybe 2 at most.
Yeah, and it's like with me, my wife loves competitive games.
Then she might love this.
And she would love this, but I don't like competitive games because I don't...
Dude, you're Mr. Competition on here.
I don't see a point to them.
He's literally putting tea into his buttocks as we record right now. He's got the syringe. Dude, he's roiding every day, all day. I'm surprised you're not like asking to compete right now.
They mix teas with steroids and pour it in their anus.
They put that tea right into their butt, in the butthole too. That's exactly where they do it. Not into the cheeks, into the hole. Okay, and that's where it goes. So please stop roiding because we do not support that here at Super BS. The next one they talk about is a game called, and some of these I think we're just going to walk by unless you have anything to say. Fairy Tail 2. Is this your type of anime Muso game?
No. So, I mean, I sell some Fairy Tale like Funko Pops, and I know there's a new season coming out, so maybe that's why they're aligning the release of this game with the next season. But yeah, I mean, probably not going to touch it.
Yeah, I believe it's just a Muso game, Dynasty Warriors, One Piece, all those style of games. I never played those anymore. Young me loved them, but they are really just a grind. There's kind of nothing to them, and they never evolved past the PS2, PS3 era. This next one is cool, and I think you have a history with it. It's a Fantasian Neo Dimension. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, so this I'm been trying to understand, is this a exact copy with some extra content of the one that was released on Apple Arcade?
That's what I believe. I believe it is. So they released Fantasian as 2 parts on Apple Arcade. This, I believe, is both of those parts with additional content coming to Switch and Xbox and PlayStation this holiday.
Yeah, I mean, created by the one of the creators of the original Final Fantasy. All the
Sakaguchi.
The sets, yeah, and all the sets are handmade, so you're playing with kind of a computer generated person going through stuff that's actually real. Like, it's really really cool the way that it's set up. But yeah, it plays it's turn-based combat, so it plays kind of like your traditional Final Fantasy games. Outside you have your protagonist who a lot of people thought was a female until he started talking. But I don't know. It's great game. Sorry, I'm rambling here, but yeah, it's a great game. I never played the second part, so I'm probably gonna pick this up when it does drop and jump into it again.
Yeah, I think it looks really neat. It kind of depends on the price point for me. If they're trying to sell this as a $60 title, there's a chance I'm going to skip it. I was a huge Mistwalker fan on the 360 title, so it's like a weird joint Mistwalker developed game where Square Enix is releasing it or publishing it. Yeah. But yeah, I love Lost Odyssey. I didn't play Blue Dragon, but I love Lost Odyssey. I never got a chance really to play The Last Story, which was that Wii Mistwalker game they released kind of at the end of the Wii lifestyle.
I don't think I did that one. I did play Blue Dragon. I did play Lost Odyssey. Loved those games. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Lost Odyssey is one of my favorite modern turn-based RPGs. I had nothing but, it was such a fun game when it came out. It's really cool. Had some cheesy characters and such, but I overall loved it. I didn't finish it. It was a game where I got to the 4th disc. I got to the end of it, and I was just doing the side content, and then I stopped playing. I struggle with this in RPGs, because often at that 60, 70-hour mark, I lose steam, but I also want to finish everything.
Yeah, I don't remember if I finished it either. I do remember, before the game was released, though, they had the raddest, cinematic for it. You saw is Kane in the middle of that battlefield, and he's just, chopping people down like crazy. It was hard to watch that and be like, oh, man, I'm not going to play that game.
Yeah, Lost Odyssey is incredible. I'm hoping at some point we get not even a remake, but a remaster, and just put it on Steam, put it on everything, because it's a great game that's kind of tied to the 360. And now with backwards compatibility, we can play it, but it would be fun to have some quality of life.
Yeah.
Just basic quality of life for that. The next game they discussed was the Nintendo Switch Sports title. They're giving an update where you can play basketball. Did you ever buy this game?
I did not. I mean, I've walked by it at the store and I've seen it on the shelf. And I know it's kind of a callback to what made the Wii so great was the sports game. Everyone had parties and people come over and play golf or bowling or whatever. But
yeah,
I don't know.
I picked it up.
Did you? Did you like it?
Yeah, I loved it. I think it's really great. We played it probably only about 3-4 nights, but it's a great game for non-gamers. So I really enjoyed it. We mainly would play tennis and bowling, kind of the same as the original Wii sports, but it was still great. I never touched golf. I did do some of the sword fighting, and I tried to do volleyball. I think they also have soccer or something that seemed like it was half-baked.
And that's all with the Joy-Cons, right? It's just sensors are in the Joy-Cons.
Yes, yeah. So it seems, So they have golf, soccer, volleyball, bowling, tennis, badminton, and chambara, which is swords. Bowling, tennis, and badminton are the kind of standouts. Badminton is pretty much identical to tennis. And volleyball is not super great. Soccer, I don't even think I turned it on because you had to like put the Joy-Con around your leg. That had to be where the strap was, so it could sense that.
Yeah.
And then golf came out after the game came out, so I never turned it on. But it was a lot of fun. I really think for what it is, as long as you know what you're getting, I think it's a really well-made like mini game sports title thing. But
so what are they adding to it in this one?
They're adding basketball as one of the new sports.
That's right.
I don't know if I'll play it. It's mainly just jump throws. I don't know if there's anything else you do. The trailer just kept showing people like, toss the ball. So I don't know if there's going to be more to it than that. But,
Shoot the hoop, man.
Maybe if people come over and we turn it back on, maybe I'll try it out. It's a game that I think is always going to be relevant, though, for people who don't play games, right?
Oh,
if there's
sure.
people in your house, it's just, hey, we can turn this on. Next title they showed was this really beautiful title called Mio, which is Memories in Orbit. People think it might be a Metroidvania. There was really no telling what it is. It's just like a hand-drawn, very much like with pencil-looking, lines and beautiful colors.
Remind me of Celeste a little bit.
I could see a Celeste. I think it's going to be a Metroidvania because it reminded me of like all of those. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think it could be great. It's one of those ones that I'm wait and see, right?
Yeah.
After that, they did Disney Illusion Island, which did you pick up this game? I want to say it came out last August.
No, I did not. Like I vaguely remember them talking about it, but I don't think I ever went back to it.
Yeah, I think it could be cool. It's a 4-player co-op Metroidvania. It's made for people to kind of be like their first game. I'd heard it was good when it came out. It is currently locked to the Switch. I don't know if it's coming to anything else. I tend to not buy many Switch games that aren't Nintendo titles, mainly because the performance is the worst. But yeah, it's something that I've kind of always like kept in my wish list. I don't know if I'll get around to it, but it's cool. They're updating it. They're adding, it seems like a fairly large DLC. Yeah, after Disney Illusion Island, they showed Hello Kitty Island Adventure, which I know is your brand of gaming. That's something that, how many copies are you going to buy at launch? Or are you buying everything they sell?
One for every character in the game, I think. So I can put on my Hello Kitty shrine that I have located in my house.
The funny thing is you can't see this because we don't do a video podcast, but he does have a Hello Kitty shrine right behind him. There's incense right around it. There's Hello Kitty. There's all of his favorites, the penguin one, the frog one. It's crazy how much you love these characters. I've always thought it was a little bit odd, but I'm glad that you love them as much as you do.
It's my fandom, and that's just my thing. We got to respect everybody's beliefs now.
No kinks gaming here, man. I'm not going to kink shame you for that. Your Hello Kitty Island Adventure. Real talk, though. You got some young ladies in your house. Are they interested in this style of game or no?
I don't actually know if my kids are into Hello Kitty. I don't think they are. I think my wife has some history with Hello Kitty.
Is it like something where you don't want to show it to them because you're worried they'll like it and then you'll have to spend tons of money? Or what's kind of your... Why don't they know what Hello Kitty is?
Whether or not I show them Hello Kitty, they're still going to cost a ton of money. So
no, what are you talking about? Kids are free, man. They pay your bills. They go to the coal mine every morning.
Yeah, it's the factory.
At the crack of dawn.
Every day at 6:00, I send them off to the factory. I say, "Hey, kids, go make some shoes for some people," and then
they're developing a case of the black lung, but you're willing to do it because you need new games, okay? And unless they go there, you're not going to get your new games.
Xbox games, yeah, or Nintendo games.
You got to collect every original Xbox game. Have you ever thought about doing that? I know you were like on a hot streak and not trying to derail us too hard, but you were buying a bunch of old Sega Genesis games. Have you ever thought about? I just feel like for you, original Xbox would be your brand. Have you ever thought about doing original Xbox titles?
Yeah, once upon a time, I dreamt of completing a lot of sets, and yeah, Xbox was definitely there. I think the Xbox is the original Xbox is probably the only one I would be able to collect all of them because a lot of the 360, that was, I want to say about 3/4 into this 360 era, they started doing more. A lot of games are digital only.
Yeah, and I just looked. You probably would never be able to get all the original Xbox titles because there are roughly 1,000 games, 988 original Xbox titles.
Era of shovelware, yeah.
Yeah, you would still, you'd have to buy a new house after you already spent $1 million purchasing each of them.
I'm sure they're pretty cheap though. I'm sure a lot of them are like you can get them for like $1, $2.
But I think for me, like I've never been to game collecting, but say some future where I own a big house and I have a place where I could do it. I think it would be fun to collect the best games, right? Mm-hmm. Like not collect every game. Like I have no interest in that. But to collect the original Halo, which I think I have a copy of a lot of these, you know what I mean? Yeah. But the original Halo, that one RPG that Microsoft released that I can never remember with the 4 characters and the guy with red hair. Do you know what I'm talking about? It was like an old original Xbox title that I never ended up playing it.
It's not Armed and Dangerous, is it?
No, it's I want to say it starts with an S, but I feel like every time I think of the letter, I'm always incorrect on what it starts with. You don't remember which one I'm talking about? It's got like a blue-haired girl. No RPGs have that. It's got like a blue-haired girl, and she has like armor and like a green shirt, and the guy has like red hair and armor and like blue pants, I want to say.
You know, I'm sure if you told me the title, I would recognize it, but I'm not placing it in
none
my
of
head
this
right
is
now.
Sudeki. Yeah, I would have never got there. It did start with an S, though.
Oh, that's right.
Do you remember Sudeki?
I do. Yes, I do.
Did you ever play it? It always looks cool. I just never actually played it.
No, so my days with the original Xbox were just, it was Halo, man. Like I was obsessed with Halo, and that's pretty much the only game I ever played on the original Xbox. Actually, I did do like Armed and Dangerous, Advent Children, and all, or Advent Rising. There's a few that I enjoyed, but yeah, I don't think I ever played that one.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite, honestly, if I think about it now, is probably Jade Empire, just because it's one of those games that's locked on the original Xbox. Fable would have also been like a great title.
Fable was great.
But yeah, the original Xbox had some pretty great games. It's kind of funny because I feel like in that generation, people regard the original Xbox as the loser, right? It's the GameCube, the PS2, and the Xbox. And I'm not going to deny that the PlayStation 2 had the wealth of riches there. They had all the titles. But I don't think you can discount the original Xbox. GameCube had a lot of great games too, but there was a lot of fun original Xbox titles. I think you could probably buy every good Xbox title though, and it'd probably be only about 20 games. Maybe 30.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like if you're buying the exclusive
ones.
ones.
Xbox was weird too, because you notice in like that first year sorry, we're going down a rabbit hole here, but the first year that came out, like there's a lot of games that are trying to mimic whatever the popular franchises on PlayStation were at the time. So you see a lot of ones that are copying like Jet Moto and Cool Borders and things like that. And
then similarly, you would see Killzone, which was the Halo killer, right? Like Halo was the shooter, right?
Resistance too, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Okay, so back to Nintendo Direct. Sorry, we Hello Kitty Island Adventure obviously kept our attention so much that we had to only focus on this Nintendo Direct. The next one is definitely your game. It's probably your game of the show. Looney Tunes Wacky World of Sports. I assume that's the game that you were just jumping up and down out of your chair for. Looks like a Space Jam, but it's missing LeBron. What do you think of this one? What do you think of Space Jam minus LeBron, the sports game?
It felt like a waste of valuable like airtime for Nintendo to show that.
Yeah, it definitely was one of the. There were quite a few actually. I would say if we counted how many titles they showed, there's probably 30 or 40% where I was like, please don't use this time for this. Yeah. I would have rather seen trailers of things I already saw than watch that. But whatever.
There's a Direct a couple years ago that wasted like 15 minutes of the 30 that it had on a backyard wrestling game. And I remember thinking to myself, like, what in the world?
That was a mini Direct partner showcase. I definitely remember that game, that Direct. So it wasn't like a classic Direct. That being said, classic Directs have historically done that. They did that with Smash Brothers and Splatoon. They wasted 20 minutes of a 40-minute Direct on Smash and something similar for Splatoon. After that, they had an Among Us trailer. Don't ask me why they're doing an Among Us trailer again. That's probably some update, but this game is incredibly old at this point. I don't know why. We have to keep seeing it. After that, there was a game called Farmagia, which is, I believe, it's kind of like cheese, but it is a farming Pikmin.
You see one of these every year. One of these games every year, like, oh, we're going to cross the border between RPG and farming sim, and they seldom play out very well.
Yeah, good on them for constantly trying. Good on these crazy people for being like, hey, it didn't work for all these other people, but it's going to work for me.
We're going to do it this time. It's like Sony with VR. Let's keep putting this game out on VR. We'll keep pushing it so people will think that it's really good.
It's like the Apple with the Vision Pro. I don't know if you read, but they are not working on a Vision Pro 2 right now, and instead they're working on a cheaper model. But their cheaper model is expected to cost between $1,500 and $2,500.
That's just cutting $500 off the price tag of the original, right? It was like $3,000 somewhere thereabout.
It's insanity, right? I talk with a little bit of a side quest right now. I talk with a lot of people about this, but it's when you see those businesses that go to the abandoned centers that have failed time and time and time again, or the sushi place that switches owners and changes names 30 times, and you're like, why? No one's going to know the difference between you and the last 20 sushi shops that all failed there. This is farming sims. Farming sims, people, unless you have something incredible, I wouldn't put your hat in that ring. After that, and this is the first one that I, besides the Mario and Luigi title, it's the first one I'm really excited for. Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. I have bought the Wii copy of this. I have bought the 3DS copy of this. I have still never finished it, but I did finish Tropical Freeze on Switch. I'm hoping that Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, I finish it as well. It is a fun side scroller, but it's coming out 2025, which I was bummed out about. Are you going to play this one?
Yeah, I'd like to. I never played Tropical Freeze. I remember you and
Tropical Freeze is the best.
You and the Stank Bank talking about it, but it was not one I ever went back and picked up. But yeah, I do want to play this one. I do remember playing the original of this, and
on Wii.
On Wii, I think I picked it up. But yeah, no, it's a fun game. I'm trying to remember. I think Rare owns the Donkey Kong brand. I think that's why Nintendo has not put out anything new with Donkey Kong in a while.
No, Nintendo owns Donkey Kong. Rare owns the Donkey Kong Country 3 games that came out. But these games are made by the studio that makes Metroid Prime. What is it called? It is called Retro Studios. So they made this and Twilight Freeze. What is it called? Tropical Freeze. I would say, though, if you haven't played Tropical Freeze, that's the better of these two, so I would just play that one next time it's on sale. But I'm excited because I finished Tropical Freeze, really enjoyed it. These games are always great. I will probably pick it up. My guess is they're selling it for $60, so I'll probably get one of those, the vouchers they sell for the eShop for $100, and then you can buy your eShop credit from Costco for $90, so you can essentially get these games for like, oh man, you want to know my racket? I can't share with you, okay, or else it'll get blown up. After that, the biggie for Dr. Donna, Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake. We heard about this, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago. It's been a while since they showed the original trailer for this. I think it looks great. I can't wait to play it. Comes out this year, and then they announced at the end that Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD remake are coming out next year. I know you're going to be confused, so I'm just going to beat you to the punch. The reason why is 3 is the prequel to 1 and 2. So similar to like our talk about Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake
I was going to
Eater.
ask you about that, but then I remember we did talk about this one time. You know, it's funny because that had been announced like 10 years ago or whatever. But no, how many years ago? That was
the Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D remake?
Yeah, it's been in the works for a long time, if I remember.
Probably about 5 years.
Yeah. Anyways, but by the time that game finally drops here, there already have been like 3 or 4 other properties that kind of did the same thing that they're doing, though. You know, with like Star Ocean and Octopath Traveler kind of mimic that same style that they were doing. So
the original announcement was after the first Octopath Traveler. And all of these games are owned by Square Enix. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a weird thing. Nobody's like copying it, if that makes sense. Like Star Ocean was Square Enix. Octopath Traveler 1 and 2 are Square Enix. This is just kind of their thing for some of their titles now.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like if this was the first game they showed in that style, like it would have been great for this one to come out first before they started doing with like Star Ocean and other properties.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. But like I said, they had already made Octopath Traveler the original, so I think it's all holds barred of like what's coming out next. Like the rumor, and well, let's go over the rumors at the end. But there was some rumors that other titles might have been announced that I was a little bit disappointed didn't show up at all. After this, the #1 game for you of all time, Funko Fusion. I know you're going to probably own every
really
copy of it.
This. Yeah, for real. Like, because if you pre-order it, you actually get some exclusive Funko Pops. So I'm actually, maybe.
So you're pre-ordering it?
I might do it.
I will say this. The gameplay looks interesting to some extent. I think graphically it's not going to run well on the Switch because it looks like too high fidelity. It's probably also coming to PS5 and Xbox, so maybe it'll be better there. Yeah. But the questions I have is, one, it's an incredibly budget game. You can see, right? Like, they're trying to do a lot. You can look like when the dinosaur can't come out of the wrapper and he just walks through it instead. Like, you can tell they're cutting a lot of corners. Yeah. But what is the game? So far, it just looks like Roblox. Like, you just kind of run around a world. Like, it's just hard to figure out what the game is.
Yeah, it reminds me of Lego a little bit, because I know you can, like, call in different Funko Pops from different, like, genres of film and stuff like that. And yeah, you can go, they have stuff from, like, anime, Jurassic Park, and all that. So I'm imagining it's going to be like Lego. Like, there's going to be a lot of Lego elements to it. And you're just going to be playing in these different worlds, using different skills from different types of characters.
Yeah,
but I mean, I think what you see with the trailers here is what you get.
What you see is what you get, bros. That's what we're known for. After that, they had another trailer for Luigi's Mansion 2, which is coming out at the end of the month. Then they had a game that I love so much. I think it's made by Nintendo. I don't think anybody else would even dare make something like this. It's called The New Denpa Men. I don't know what it is, man. It's coming out July 27th. I kind of want to get it. It potentially looks like the dumbest game I've ever seen in my life, and I'm all about it. Like, I don't know what it is. Did you see this trailer?
I did see the trailer. I don't understand it.
I kind of love it. If it's reasonably priced, I will probably buy it just because it is so stupid. It's just
often
it's
games
free
like
to play.
This. Yeah, but people play these games, or they get these games to like make memes out of them, and they end up being like really fun.
Yeah, I have no clue. The only bummer is it doesn't seem like it's actually a Nintendo game. That kind of makes me a little bit bummed out. I thought it was a Nintendo title because I was like, if it's a Nintendo title, then I'm all about this because they normally make decent games. But it seems like this is just some mobile RPG by some group called Genius Society? No, Genius Sonority, which I don't even know what that means, but whatever. So that looked great. I don't know if you remember this from about 3 years ago, but they had a Metal Slug Tactics game that they just released a demo for the Steam Next Fest. But they are making also a Metal Slug Tower Defense game that comes out today. It looks fun, but I mean, I don't know what we're talking like price wise.
It's like a $20 title. That's the most I would pay for it.
I think even $20 is too much. Like, I don't think I would pay $20 for it. That's kind of my thought, and I'm checking out right now because it was the surprise drop for the day. This and some updates were kind of it. Oh, $10. Okay, that makes a lot more sense because it looks a lot like a phone game. You get characters, you kind of let them go out there and fight, and then you get more characters and you build a deck. Yeah, it looks funnish, but I don't know. I don't play my Switch a lot. If it's coming out to other stuff, I could see myself picking up on Steam for like next sale.
I do really love the Metal Slug franchise. You know,
same.
I mean, traditionally I've loved those games. So I mean, they are kind of branching out of what they normally do, and maybe I'll check it out if it's ever on sale. But yeah, I'm probably not. It's not something I would be like picking up today.
Yeah, but this is kind of closer to an idle game than like a Metal Slug game. It's even more that than like Tactics, right? Where you're actually doing stuff. This is just you choose guys who go out there and they fight. That's why I think it's like, for me, it's like a $3 game at best because you're not really doing much. You're just setting stuff up. People love those games right now. I forgot the names of all of them, but League of Legends, Riot Games, they have one.
Arcane, I think is the...
Yeah, Arcane's the show that they have, but it's all... Team Tactics
I know what you're talking about. I'm just getting the name wrong.
Yeah, so Team Tactics or something like that. They have a lot of those. Dota has one too. Darkest Dungeon 2 was the next announcement. That's already been on PC and I think some other consoles, but it's coming out to Nintendo Switch July 15th. Then they had their big, in quotes, Nintendo Switch Online update, which was Legend of Zelda Link to the Past 4 Swords Adventure, Metroid Zero Mission for Game Boy Advance, and then Perfect Dark for Switch Online, and Turok Dinosaur Hunter, which I had to download a Nintendo 64 emulator for mature 17 plus just to play those two titles, which Yeah, and they
Worth it?
play so bad, man.
No.
If you want to play either of those titles right now, you can easily play Perfect Dark on the Rare Replay Collection on Xbox, or you can buy, I believe, Turok is on PC, I want to say. And at that point, yeah, it's on Steam. You could purchase it there. Both of those are better options for this game if you want to have like dual joystick support and such. But
Yeah.
cool that they're still supporting this. I was hoping for DK64. I love collectathons, and they just haven't released that one ever. Then we had Phantom Brave, The Lost Hero, which is a NIS game. I used to play Disgaea series. This was like from them.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved those games when we were younger. When it was Disgaea 1, and now we're on like 7, I think. Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection plus Arcade Classics. Such a dumb title, but a really cool looking game. Did you ever play any of these? It's like the X-Men game, Street Fighter versus Capcom.
I played them on the arcades. I'm not a big fighting game person, so I can see, I'm like, oh, it looks fun, but it's not something I'm going to be picking up probably.
Yeah, I don't think I'll pick this one up either. I think if they just sold the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 by itself for like $5, I probably would pick that up on a bunch of things because I think that one's great. But I won't play any of these other games. So it's like, why would I pick them up? I didn't even pick up the Street Fighter collection that they released at the beginning of the Switch launch, and I thought that looked way better. After this, on October 17th, we are getting a new Super Mario Party. It's called Super Mario Party Jamboree. I will say, this looks like the most fun Mario Party game I've seen in a while. They all look fun, though, via the trailer. This one has 20-player competitions. I don't know if it's also the board or what. Yeah, it looks cool. I would love to play it. It's just the two of us where we live, so I don't think I'm going to pick this up because I probably won't end up playing it. Are you going to pick this one up?
I don't have enough people to play video. It looks fun, but I don't have enough people to play Switch games with that would make this.
I mean, you don't have to have 20. You have a huge family. You should play with the 4 of you.
Yeah, but nobody's ever with the babies running around. We can't be playing things in the living room. We're gonna end up crushing one of them.
No, you won't crush them. They'll get in them.
Yeah.
Okay, and then my favorite announcement of the show, which we'll discuss the stuff.
Just Dance 2025.
It's Just Dance. You got it. This is. I will say we're not far from there, and that was like the most loss of hype I've ever felt in my life. No, it's The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. I did not expect this. This is probably the most. This and the Mario and Luigi title just came out of the blue. Yeah. They look incredible. This looks like A Link to the Past art style that they had from about 2019, 2018, whenever that came out. That was really fun. This one you play as Zelda. The first Zelda title ever. We play Zelda.
Yeah, it's funny too because you hear a lot of people joking around about that. Like, what if something ever happened to Link and you could play Zelda? Or why, if the games are Zelda, why don't you ever play as Zelda? And like, here you go. This is your opportunity.
Yeah, and I think it's... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, and you're like crafting things too. Like, you don't get a traditional like sword in this game. You craft things and use the things you craft to defeat the enemies out in the wild. Yeah,
I kind of love that. It looks like a lot of fun because you're solving puzzles with the items that you duplicate. You craft, duplicate, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, you beat an enemy and then you can copy them and use them again so they can fight other enemies. It looks like so much fun. I'm hoping it's nearly as good as it looks because it reminds me of everything I loved about Tears of the Kingdom in terms of like puzzle solving, right? Where you kind of decide how to solve puzzles. So we'll see. It comes out soon, September 26th.
A lot of stuff being dropped in the fall, which is great, I think.
Which is good. They had no titles before this Nintendo Direct, so now they have some. Your title of the show, the one that you just mentioned that you love, Just Dance 2025 edition. You were just I saw you, you streamed this live on Instagram. You were getting out of your chair. You're dancing along.
Absolutely, yeah.
Man, you're crazy.
I was hoping for another one of those like marching band commercials. Remember when they showed it at the end of the Xbox conference like, a few years back?
Yes. Yeah, the best ones. Then we had, obviously, the publisher you expected in Nintendo Direct, PlayStation, with their Lego Horizon Adventures, which we saw at Summer Game Fest. It is what it is, right? Like, it's not made for me. I think it could be neat. We discussed it earlier. I will not play it. Nothing against it. I don't think it's the game for me. I'm not a big Horizon fan to begin with, and then it looks like it took everything out of the Lego games that I liked and removed them. Then Stray, the PlayStation titles, a lot of PlayStation stuff, I feel like. It's coming to Switch. I mean, this isn't created or published or developed by PlayStation, but it was a PlayStation exclusive for a while. Coming to Switch during the holiday season. This Hobbit game that I think is just a mobile game is coming to Switch. Such a waste of time on the show. Like, I don't know. Whatever. It's coming out holiday season. Ace Attorney Collection, September. Good luck to it. It's coming out at the same time as Zelda. There's some weird Danganronpa style game coming in early 2025. I don't think it looks very interesting. Did you have any thoughts on this one?
The 100-line RPG? Last Defense Academy thing?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, no, probably. No. Yeah. No,
and
not
then,
interested.
One of the most fun-looking Square Enix titles in terms of, like, the most surprised I've been since probably Trials of Mana when it came to, like, games I didn't know I might actually want to play. Romancing Saga 2, Revenge of the Seven. It's a turn-based game, a remake of the original Romancing Saga 2. I do worry that, like Trials of Mana, I won't play it. Even if I buy it, I'll barely touch it. But it did look good. It looked like they put the work in to make a real remake of it. So, if it's good...
You know what's funny is with like Trials of Mana, like I was super excited to play that game, and then I spent 2 hours in it. And it was like, yeah, this is awesome, and then I just never turned it back on. So I feel exactly the same. It does look great though, and I probably will pick it up just to own it. But whether or not I'll finish is a whole other thing.
Yeah, Trials of Mana is mind-numbingly easy. It is. That is one of its biggest problems. There is not much going on there game-wise. I don't know about this game. It's coming out October 24th. I assume it will be coming out to like everything. If that's the case, we'll see. Maybe if I pick it up on a sale somewhere, I'll play it. And then the next ones. The next and final game that they announced was Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. They showed this in 2017. Isn't that wild? 2017 was when they announced that they were working on Metroid Prime 4. It must have been through development hell because 7 years later, it is still not coming out this year. It is, even though Nintendo said, hey, we're going to talk about games coming out in 24. Yeah, 2025. It does look good. I think it looks good in a way where I think this might be a Switch 2 title. I'm not confident this is a Switch. I mean, I think it might be on both, but I think they're showing us the Switch 2
definitely
gameplay.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? Like I loved how they're showing like the action shots in the trailer, and all of a sudden it just stopped. Back to like the calm music's playing as it's showing some of the landscapes. I don't know if that's hinting that there's going to be some like slightly open world elements to it, or if it's going to be another rail game kind of.
It could be a callback to the original Metroid Prime, which had a very similar opening. It wasn't like as action-paced as what I think we saw as the opening, where like there's all the space pirates and everything. But it started with like, you going through the space station and then you land on a planet very similar to this shot, where it's green. And so I hope it's fairly open. It doesn't need to be crazy open, but give me some chance to explore and go around. I will say Metroid Prime was a game of its era, so it couldn't really explore the spaces the way you'd want. You kind of had like maybe small rooms, if you will, and those rooms would have different paths out, and that's literally how they look on the map, which is very Metroid, but it's 2024 now. This game will be out in 2025. I'm hoping it will be a little bit more surprising, kind of like Pikmin 4, where Pikmin 4 had like open zones and you could do tons of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so we spent way longer talking about that than I thought, mainly because we stayed just too to the point. We didn't get distracted at all. We never talked about a different thing. What was your favorite announcement from this showcase?
Oh, geez. I was excited about Fantasian coming to the Switch, like a physical version of it, but I have to say I am really intrigued by the new Mario Brothers game.
Really? Okay. You surprised me there. I thought you were going to say Zelda. But
I Tears of the Kingdom I never finished. Like Link's Awakening I didn't enjoy. Like it was so ridiculously hard. Because I don't have that history with Zelda that everyone else has, so it was difficult for me. So I looked at this one, I'm like, do I really want to do that to myself again? But
yes, you do.
Yes, the answer is yes, absolutely. But yeah, no, the Mario Brothers game actually looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. Like I mentioned when we were going through it, my big 2 games of the show was Mario and Luigi and the Zelda. I can't remember the Echoes of something. Legend of Zelda,
Yeah.
Echoes of Wisdom.
Mm.
I will say just a real quick callback, and we'll probably discuss this more in the coming episodes. There were a lot of rumors about this showcase, and I was disappointed that none of them came through, or none of them came true. We had discussed this off air, but there's still supposedly a Wind Waker and Twilight Princess remaster that has already been finished and is sitting and waiting to come out.
Didn't they show something for Wind Waker not too long ago?
No, we haven't seen anything since the Wii U
That's
release.
what I'm thinking about, yeah.
And the other rumor was that, what were they? There were a lot of rumors. Let me try to think of some of the other bigger rumors.
Switch 2 is definitely going to be, everyone thought they were going to talk about it.
They said they wouldn't, but people still thought they might. There was rumor that there'd be a new Super Mario 3D Mario shown because it's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
There was a new Fire Emblem that was rumored to be done. That's like supposed to be finished. That's going to come out at some point. There is a Final Fantasy Tactics game that has been in development for forever, a remake of the original. And then Final Fantasy IX, which we don't know if that's going to be a Final Fantasy VII style remake or like one of these HD 2D style remakes or just a totally different style of remake. So those are just a few. There were lots of other rumors. There's no Mario Sports title. There's just a lot of things missing. I am very excited with those 2 titles, but overall, I found the showcase a little disappointing because I was hoping that there was going to be a Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. Again, not very disappointing. I think overall it was great. But yeah, the lack of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess really did bump it down a bit when I saw that, where I was like, oh, we're not going to get those titles on the original Switch. They're just not coming out.
Yeah, and I'm sure we're going to, because they usually do another one around the beginning of the year, so I'm sure we'll see something,
They normally do one in September.
Yeah. But I think this show probably had the most games that I actually wanted to play out of all of them.
I could see that. Yeah, I think comparatively to the most recent directs, this is definitely one of the better ones. I don't want to come down too negative. I think it was overall just a blast. But yeah, like I said, I think it has room for improvement. I think, for me, when it comes to these showcases every summer, currently for the last few years, there's only been really 2 in competition: the Xbox Showcase and the Nintendo Direct.
Yeah,
Nintendo Direct is always going to be shorter. There's always going to be less games, but it has the potential to be as successful, if not better, than the Xbox because 1, they normally focus on games they're making, and 2, their IP is insane. Every Mario game is fun to some extent.
Yeah.
This one, I still have to give the edge, and we'll discuss this in more detail, to Xbox, just because I thought overall their showcase was stronger on a per game basis. But, we've got a lot to talk about next week. We're going to talk about what's actually coming out this year, some of our highlights again, just to go over some of our favorite trailers. Everything, man. And probably we're going to start discussing the rest of the year because everything's lining up, right? We're finally getting those dominoes in terms of like going 2 months ago. I feel like we didn't even know what was coming out this year. Like we had 2 Xbox games.
All of a sudden there's just a bam.
Yeah, now every month there's at least a title I'm interested in.
Yeah.
So, my boys, we will be back. Peace.